Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Ask Sharifah. We've been having a lot of fun today. We've learned, we've laughed, and guess what, people? TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. But you know me, on Friday, I may be a little bit more relaxed. So I may, ask some questions I might not ask on a Monday. But what I want you to do is what I always ask you to do is just to go ahead and share this video because friends don't let friends miss out on Ask Sharifah. So let me go ahead and introduce our guest. I have the honor of introducing Ms. Deborah Kagan. Deborah Kagan is the author of Find Your Me Spot, 52 Ways to Reclaim Your Confidence, Feel Good in Your Own Skin, and Live a Turned-On Life. Live a turned-on life. I'm excited today. It's very exciting. Deborah, welcome. How are you?
Oh, Sharifah, I'm so good. I'm really glad we connected, and thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. You know what? When I look at your picture, just the same book cover that's in the back, I just see sass. Like, I'm sassy. You are happy. So I can find your me spot. So I take it you found your me spot.
I did. And it did not, necessarily just come naturally, right? Mm-hmm. And I know we'll be talking about that. But yes, I have found my me spot, and it's so beautiful because it's one of those things that you continuously discover. Because here's the thing, we are always evolving.
Mm-hmm. So what is a me spot? Tell me, what is a me spot?
You know what? So I specialize, I'm a speaker and a mentor for women. Mm-hmm. And I specialize in helping women rock their mojo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, when I wrote the book, Find Your Me Spot, it was a selfish endeavor. It was a cheat sheet for myself because it was inspired by the fact that I had lost my mojo. All right. And that had happened through, it happens over decades. When I woke up to the fact that I had lost my mojo, it was at the end of a marriage. And this was, almost 16 years ago now. And so at that moment when it was so clear to me that I was disconnected from what it means to be like a completely embodied, alive woman, what does it even look like to feel sassy and confident, like truly, it sent me on this journey to discover what is all of that and how do you have it naturally and powerfully. And so one of the first things I ended up doing when I ended up launching this business 10 years ago, I switched over from a former business that I had, which was still in the healing arts and metaphysical end of things. But I wrote this book because it's 52 ways, as you mentioned. It's a great, easy access to awaken your mojo by consciously utilizing your senses. Mm-hmm. Now, that might seem like, well, why would that be important? And I'm curious if you can relate to this, because here's the thing. There's been an epidemic that has been going on since the late 60s. Mm-hmm. I happen to call it the masculinization of women, right? And this is really where, we women have been living just from our necks up. Mm-hmm. and pushing and forcing things. But see, our true power and the me, like that me spot, it's in our bodies, right? And this is like, it's a play on words, right? This isn't a sexual thing.
Right.
It does enhance your sex life if you want it to, but inherently it's really about being powerful and confident and alive, like turned on, like your light switch is on. Mm-hmm. And so this, the book was a byproduct of my own experiments and use of our senses consciously. Because, let me just clarify. Everything that we are experiencing in life, we experience through our senses. Mm-hmm. And, we're doing it unconsciously for the most part. Right? It's like all day long, computers, phones, I'm like drinking my tea latte here. We're not necessarily like having a moment with it. Mm-hmm. And when you actually have a moment with your senses, it starts to rewire your neurobiology. And then all of a sudden your body says, ooh, she's getting serious. Like she wants to really be alive now. She
Right.
wants to be in her body. And now you start to carve these new neural pathways with a new consciousness, a new awareness, and awakening that turned on space.
Now that was interesting. It brought up a lot of different questions, but the main question that stood out for me is you said this was a journey. And some journeys take 2 days, whereas some journeys take 20 years. What type of journey was this for you, and what type of experiences did you have? And the reason I asked that is because you asked me, can I relate? And I'm like, I've been divorced twice. So, raised 2 children. So I'm definitely relating with the whole me spot, find my own power kind of, sometimes you feel sexier, sometimes you don't. So what type of journey was this for you?
Yeah. So it's okay if I get real here and raw.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So if anybody out there, that's watching has ever heard me before, this probably won't be new news to you, but for those of you that are new to me, just know that I am very transparent. Mm-hmm. I really believe that when we share our stories, we absolutely help everybody else. I shouldn't say we don't help everybody else, but we can help many other people heal and also not feel so alone. And my journey, of course, like all of ours, started from a very young age. And I grew up in my mom's second husband. It was a domestically violent household. Oh. And so I lived in that space of domestic violence for 8 years. Mm-hmm. And, that gave me messaging and everything we experience is imprinted in our bodies. You might have heard of it called cellular memory. That's why you hear that with athletes all the time. Like, they might not have worked out for, 2 months, but then they get back to it and, bam, really fast, they can get, up to speed and then beyond because their body knows the experience already. So we have good stuff and challenging stuff. All of it's layered in our bodies. So for, those 8 years, I had that experience of not being safe in a home, fearing for my life, realizing it's not okay to be a woman, watching all of that happen with my mother, right? So that was one part of my journey. And the other part that was very, informed, who I am and where I got to is then the first time I ended up having sex, I was raped. Oh, and wow. So, and I do know, unfortunately, more of us than not have had that experience at this point in our lives. And, that, of course, was like, wow, this body is not a safe place to be. And what happens is disassociation, where you literally disassociate from your physical body. Now, this is really the deeper why, like I'm getting really real with you here, but this is the deeper why of the work that I share in the world. Because what I realized is when you're not embodied, like literally living in your own body energetically, consciously, it is nearly impossible to create a powerful, like deeply successful life. Because it's almost like a zombie walking around, like you're going through the motions, right? But yet there's not the impact that you can really have in life. And, the Find Your Me Spot book and the Rock Your Mojo Women's Weekend that I host and all my programs, they're all about supporting women in getting embodied and feeling confident and alive, right? So, whether you've gone through some of these experiences like me, maybe you had a bad breakup, like you're saying, you've had a couple divorces, right? You could lose your mojo from when you had a significant career change. Like there's many different ways that this occurs. All of us for sure have had challenges. Like I can confidently say that. Like if you're a human and you're past the age of, frankly, 12 at this point, I definitely know. You had some challenges. And when we go through those challenges and we don't actually process them or transform them in the moment or quite quickly after, those experiences create a bit of what I call a kink. And it like jams up the natural flow of your own mojo. Now, Sharifah, I feel like I'm forgetting like a big piece here that we might want to kind of take a sidestep and share, because I mean, if we're talking about mojo, I might as well share what the heck mojo is, at least in the context of this conversation. Is that cool?
Absolutely.
Okay. So mojo, like everybody has it. You were born with it. You've never actually lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really want everybody to get that.
Mm-hmm.
You've never lost it. What has happened potentially is the volume dial's gone down. Now, again, what is mojo? Mojo is your life force.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever done any martial arts, it's called chi or ki. If you're a yogi, like me, then, you also have heard it called prana. If you're over hanging out in Europe and the UK, they call it life force. And if you read, empowering books like Think and Grow Rich, they call it sexual energy. Whatever you call it, it's the stuff, and it is energy. It's the stuff that moves everything in life forward. It's always here. It's within us, and it's everywhere around us. There's nothing that lacks mojo. There's different levels, right, where it will animate itself. Sometimes it'll be on low volume. Sometimes it'll be super high volume. But we all have it, right? We all have it. And those experiences that you've had that are more challenging have contributed to the volume dial getting turned down, right? So.
No, I love that. That's a wonderful definition, because even when, I love the example actually, because just like listening to music, when we turn it down, the music's off. We don't hear it, but it's still there. The volume is just so low that we can't hear it. So then if we turn it up, then all of a sudden it's like, it's back. The music's back. I got my mojo back. So we usually remember that feeling of having our mojo back, having our mojo return to us. We know definitely when we're in that mode, when we're feeling ourselves, feeling our mojo. But then there are times in life when the music may be down where we're not necessarily missing it, nor necessarily feeling it. But when we get it and we're in that mode, we definitely know it.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that, because I always say it's like, it's like electricity. Same thing. Like, the lights they're plugged in. We don't think about it, but if you want light, you got to turn the light switch on. So that's why it's about living a turned on life, like turning on the switch to you and your life 100%.
So back to my original question, because I think I missed the answer, or maybe I was staring at your book cover, but how long of a journey was this for you? I mean, was this an easy process? And I'm kind of stating the obvious to a certain extent, but was this an easy process? One of those, my life fell apart, so I went on this journey. Like, what put you on this journey?
So it definitely was, on this particular part of my journey, it definitely was the end of the marriage. I was obviously sad and really frustrated. I became very aware that a lot of the issue in the marriage was the fact that I was operating from my masculine energy. So let me take a side street here for a second, because I don't mean gender, right? Masculine is a quality of energy and feminine is a quality of energy, yin and yang. And so we need both. We have both. What has happened, though, is many women have been really just trained in our modern day to utilize masculine energy, and then the feminine has been like tucked away or buried or put in a closet or whatever. So, I realized that it was much of my doing that the marriage didn't work. I really got that and thought, okay, well, if it's gonna be different in the future, like, hello, you got to start here. Because wherever we are, there we are.
Right.
Like, we're the common denominator in everything in our life.
Right. Absolutely.
So
when you say, I just want to interrupt you real quick, but when you say the masculine energy, and I definitely know, feminine, masculine energy, but do you think it's a reflection of our society? Because there was a big burn your bra movement. If you told someone you were a housewife, they thought you were, out of your mind, because you have to go be a corporate woman. That's the drive, that's the push, that it's kind of Susie Homemaker kind of, and I don't even know if that's what we're talking about as far as the feminine energy, but the softer side of us has really been pushed aside, like you said, back in the 60s.
Yeah, absolutely. And for sure that was the era that it began, what I call this masculinization of women. But it's interesting that you bring up like the difference between like, go into the corporate world or Susie Homemaker, because, we think, oh, if you're going to be a homemaker or a stay-at-home mom, like that's quote unquote more feminine. But see, being a mom is predominantly utilizing your masculine energy. See, masculine energy is, it's about, point A to point B, getting things done. And so while of course there's nurturing involved in mothering, there is, it's more about the tasks. It's more about like getting the kid clothed, getting the kid to school, right? It's from A to B to C and so on and so forth. And so there is less, it's interesting because when people and women wake up to this, they're like, wow, all the moms that I deal with, they're like, you're right. I am utilizing so much masculine energy mothering. And that's why, especially when moms get a hold of this information I share, it's like a revelation, because they do get to then source like not only that nurturing side, but the really like juicy, creative, more flowing, potent energy, which makes for, a much more well-rounded experience overall. Right. So yeah, I mean, it definitely got more intense around the time of, burn our bras and so on and so forth. But that also was a little more, of a gender-based conversation, right? Like, don't discriminate against me because I'm a woman.
Right.
Right. Rather than, don't discriminate me because I'm very powerful with my masculine energy. Right. We can still be, and this is really what I learned. We can still be incredibly potent businesswomen. And my goodness, we need our masculine energy to run a business. Like if I didn't utilize my masculine energy, like none of this would be happening. Like there wouldn't be the live events that I host, right? There just wouldn't be anything.
Right.
So it's equally as important though to understand and know when to shift into that feminine space. And this is what I began to cultivate and learn and develop after that marriage. And, it took a good couple of years before it felt like a new normal. Right. And I think I don't want to say like I'm a slow learner, but I knew that I was doing it at a very deep level in order to bring it out into the world. Right. There are women who have worked with me and they're in my mentorship program, or they frankly have even come to the Rock Your Mojo Women's Weekend, which is a 2.5-day event. Some women go to that event and like literally they get the tools and they have written me in emails and reached out to me afterwards to say like shifted, my world, it's a different place. So it can happen quickly. It's very much about what do you desire? How are you going to play the game called your life, right? And what are you willing to let yourself experience and put into practice to have your mojo on a regular basis?
Now that sounds fun. It sounds interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about the Rock Your Mojo Weekend?
Yeah, it's I'm super excited. It's coming up actually 3 weeks from this live video. It's going to be happening again in Los Angeles. And it's a 2.5-day, I call it like a deep dive immersion really into you as a woman. One of the things that's I think different about this event that women love so much is number one, it's a totally safe, sacred space. And there aren't a lot of those for women. They're starting to crop up. I'm seeing it more, which is beautiful. But in terms of like a training and it's a marriage between a training and like a retreat, right? Okay. The weekend. So women are going to learn all about the 4 pillars of mojo. Like mojo is a good 4-letter word in my world.
I like that.
Yeah. And so there's the 4 pillars. There's mindset. Then there's the oracle, which is our body. There's J, which is about joining with all these different roles that we play in life. Mother, wife, girlfriend, lover, daughter, sister, friend, whatever your hobbies are. So there are all these different roles. And it's really about tapping into them and learning how to, again, navigate through them, to be fully self-expressed. So we go through that. And the final O is about what I call oasis. It's your environment. It's really turning your home and your workspaces into generators of mojo. So they can fuel you, so you don't have to be depleted, and you get to have a lot more ease and grace. So we go through those 4 pillars. There are fun exercises throughout the weekend as well, and there are actually a whole bunch of raffles and prizes that we give away. And I have a couple of fantastic guests that different guests that come in each time. So it's an opportunity that weekend, and what I've noticed over these few years that we've been doing this particular event, it's really an opportunity to fill yourself up, number 1. And number 2, it's about letting go of the BS and the shackles that you have been holding on to for fear that, transformation isn't possible. Like, this weekend shows you that transformation is not only possible, it's happening in the room, right? Oh, wow. And that is, and the third thing that I hear so much from women, and gosh, they say it, there's a video on the website, rockyourmojo.womensweekend.com. There's a video, and women say this all the time. They're just like, you know what? It was so helpful to be with women, but to recognize I'm not alone. And it's interesting. I forget how many of us, and I have moments like this too, in my own ways. But it's interesting how we will forget that if we're thinking about something, or if we're going through something, like, somebody else is going through it too. But in our worlds, we think it's, oh my gosh, it's just me. And the value of getting around a group of women, and you can see, like, hey, me too. Yes. in all those ways. Is incredibly potent. Women learn through osmosis. So meaning, when we are gathered together and you just even hear another woman speak, or you see another woman go through a process or an exercise, you just see that mirrored, you learn. Like, our bodies are so intelligent, and women's bodies have a little more intelligence. No offense to all my, guys out there, because you're fabulous. But we women, we are wired a little bit differently. And, and science has showed this to us at this point. But when, so when we are connected and around other women, there really is this osmosis that occurs, and the value of being around women in that way is unparalleled. And so that's a little taste of what goes down.
No, it sounds fun. It sounds like a lot of fun. You did mention it was in Los Angeles. Can we have a little bit more information for anybody who might want to go check it out? Or is it already sold out? I don't want to, you've already sold out.
You're so sweet. No, we do have a handful of tickets left, and it's in Marina Del Rey, and all the information's on the website, rockyourmojowomensweekend.com. It's just the title of the event.com. And you know what I'd love to do? I would love to put something together for your viewers, actually. And so if you go and you would like to get a ticket, what I'll do is I'll set up a special code as soon as this, right away. So we'll have this code, and it'll be Sharifah. Okay.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
And it's going to take $400 off the ticket price.
I love that.
Don't tell anybody.
We won't. We won't. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous.
Yeah. No, that's just going to, so really that's just for your community. And I'm just inspired to offer that to you. And the other thing, by the way, that I want to throw in there, because I really appreciate you bringing me on today, is there's a digital e-kit called the Confident Love e-kit. Okay. And it's fantastic. There's 4 audios, 3 videos, and 2 PDF guides. And it's all about deepening your own level of self-love. Again, like filling yourself up so you can come from a place of overflow and then truly attract love that is a match for you. Now, I don't necessarily mean romantic love. I mean like love in terms of the right clients, love in terms of the right business partnerships, like really things that are aligned in your life, starting from You filling up yourself, because that's the way it works. So I'm going to throw that in for anyone that decides to book a ticket as well.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Thank you. You are too kind. I'm so excited that you're going to help me find my me spot. I'm going to have to check it out. But where can we get your book? How can we get your book?
Well, if you come to the event, you can actually get my book and then get a signed copy.
Oh, even more. Signed copy, $400 off. Use the code Sharifah. We are so honored and blessed to have you here and for you taking your time to be a guest today. Now, we are down to the end of the show, and what I love to do at the end of every show is to allow my guests the opportunity to just look right out there, speak to the audience, and let them know what you want them to take away from your interview.
Oh my goodness. All right, let me take a deep belly breath. Let's all just take a deep belly breath together, because that's one of the things that's like, it stokes your inner mojo flame, belly breathing.
It felt good.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, thank you for tuning in. You've got lots of things that you could tune into, and I'm really honored and grateful that you're taking the time to spend with us right now, and certainly with me being new to this community. And here's the thing. You have mojo in you right now. If you're feeling frustrated, if you are feeling like you are struggling and that there's you try different techniques and you just seem to run around in circles, one of the things that is right there for you is you and your mojo. And when you learn to turn up the dial on your mojo, which is very, very easy. You can do it simply starting with the exercises in that book. You can do it by coming to the live event, right? There are numerous ways. When you turn up that volume dial, what happens is you will have more power, more confidence, more pleasure, more joy, and more grace and ease. And it is 100% within you right now. There's nothing missing. It's simply a matter of gaining access and having the right tour guide to get there.
Oh, I love it. That was beautiful. That was like an infomercial. I love it. That was so perfect and unrehearsed. I think it was unrehearsed. We never know.
No, that was like, I'm like, just from my heart, from my power center, like to
from
all
your mojo just coming out. Yeah. I love it. It was so beautiful. Thank you for just bringing your energy today on my last interview for this week. That's why I love putting certain people at certain places, to speak with them, because you are not, you would be nice on a Monday morning, but you closed out the week and you are amazing. So thank you for being a guest today. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Didn't we have fun today, everyone? And since we did, you know what I'm going to ask you to do? Go ahead and share this video, because friends don't let friends miss out on Ask Sharifah. So if you want to watch more of our interviews, or if you're interested in being a guest, visit my website at AskSharifah.com. Until then, everyone have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye now.